everyone, this is Sarah Berman with Practically Writing. This week we are going to be talking about the basics of covers. This is the second video that I'm doing this week, so there's really not much in the way of announcements that are new, but I will be repeating the announcements that I had last video. So if you watch this one but not the last one, then you can still get them. So there you go. The first thing to understand about covers is that they change all the time. So while I can give you some really good ideas of what's going on right now, that could change. What I'm going to do is try and give you some of the things that have lasted for quite a while. So they're probably going to be sticking around for quite some time. But again, covers change. You have to look at what covers are being done on books that are similar to yours in order to get a truly good idea of what is going on with the covers right now. The second thing that you need to keep in mind is that covers are extremely genre specific and even subgenre specific. So when you look at covers to base your books on, don't necessarily look at the things that are in your overall genre. So if you write romance, don't look at just romance novels. You want to look at the ones that are specific to your subgenre. So contemporary romance, paranormal romance, historical romance, etc., etc. Because all of those are going to have subtle differences in what is standard. Before I get into that, I would like to explain why covers are important. Because, I mean, yeah, they make your book look good. Oh yeah. But they also tell the reader what kind of book you have. This is extremely important for online sales because people tend to scroll through essentially pages and pages and pages of nothing but covers. They're generally looking for something specific and eye-catching, so you don't want to vary too far away from what is standard in your genre, or you're just going to be skipped over as something that's not really what you're looking for. Now when it comes to paperback sales, again, the covers tell the reader what kind of book they're getting into. High fantasy novels have a different kind of cover look to them than westerns do. So you're essentially giving your reader an assurance that this is the kind of book that they want. And that's when they pick it up. That's when they read the back blurb. That's when they go, hey, this sounds like the kind of book I want. So first it looks like the kind of book I want, then it sounds like the kind of book I want, and then they start reading it and, oh, is it the kind of book they want? Well, okay, so that's up to you in your writing, but if they have expectations, and most readers do, then you want to meet those expectations. It can be as simple as whether or not they're expecting a superhero type fantasy, a comic book like, plot line, or if they want the typical, shoot 'em up western kind of thing. They want something specific. You can put your own twist on that. You can put your own slant on that. But your reader is generally looking for something kind of specific. That sounds weird, kind of specific. You're in the mood for a certain kind of read. So if you want to appeal to your readers, you need to tell them what they're going to be reading. The first thing that anybody is going to see on your cover is the thing that nobody ever thinks about, and that is color. Color is an indicator. Based on what colors you use as the primary colors for your book cover, you're telling the reader on some level what kind of book this is. Pink and cream, totally romance. Seriously. The pinker and creamier, the sweeter. You start going into black and red, and you're looking at some kinky stuff here. Westerns like browns, tans. Thrillers like olive green, red, and black. Mystery tends towards blues and grays. Horror tends towards greens and grays. High fantasy tends towards yellow and red. So these are some ideas of what to look for in covers that kind of speak to your overall genre. This does not mean you're restricted to these colors, nor does it mean that you have to include these colors. But these are the kinds of colors that you at least want the same feeling from those colors. And if you don't understand what I mean by the feeling of colors, I don't know how to help you on that one. There is a lot of research that goes into how color affects people's moods. Blues are soothing, unless they're grayish blues, and then they're kind of creepy. The browns and tans of westerns totally reflect the landscape of the Southwest. It totally makes sense. That's the kind of feeling that you're going to get. That's the sort of collective of all of our understanding and memory and thought processes behind what is going on with these things. You want to tap into that because it's going to make sure that your reader gets their eye caught. Now, there's a little more flexibility when it comes to content of the covers. That means like the images that you use on the covers. But there are still some things that are very, very specific to genres. Anything that is romance, especially on the steamier side of romance, you're gonna have man abs. Man abs forever. Oh yeah. Paranormal romance tends to have a woman in skin-tight clothing. High fantasy, probably castles. Almost guaranteed there's gonna be mountains. And a flag. A flag. Don't know why there's always a flag, but there's always a flag. Westerns and spy novels focus on guns. Or the little crosshairs thing, you know. These are kind of iconic symbols of those genres that apply really well to covers. And the great thing about those iconic symbols is even if that specific thing never makes it into your novel, even if you never have any situation where somebody is in a crosshairs or is looking through crosshairs or anything like that, if there is a feeling of being hunted, you can use crosshairs in a spy thriller. Just saying. It's a really great way to kind of give an idea of the emotion behind the novel. Not necessarily the details of what actually happens in the plot. You want to give them the feeling. Is this going to be an epic novel? Then you want a grand landscape with a castle and maybe some armies or something like that. But that's going to have the feeling of what happens in the book. Now, you throw in some authentic, details onto that, great. But you really want to capture the emotion of the overall plot. That's the thing that gets a really good cover. Most of the time, you're not going to need those kinds of details on your cover, nor are your readers going to be picking your cover apart. Your cover is a gateway drug. It is literally the way that you draw in the reader. It does not have to be the same experience. It probably should be pretty close, but it doesn't have to be. Go for the feeling. Go for the emotion. Go for the abstract idea. And then you've got it. But Sarah, a wise one, what about text? Okay, so you want it to be legible. Key thing. You want it to be legible. People should not have to guess what the title of your book is. Just say it. And there are some books where it's like, wait, what letter is that? So you have to turn into the cover page just to find out what the title of the book is. That does not endear you to people. You want the title of your book to be the largest thing. You want your name to be second. Subtitles and series names, they should be big enough that people can find them out, but they don't have to be in your face. By the same token, your font and your font colors should reflect your genre. Everybody makes fun of the use of chiller, with the almost icicle-like bottoms. But when it comes to horror, that's the kind of feeling you want. Okay, maybe not that specific font, but that's the kind of feel that you want from your font. Again, go with how it feels. Go with how, the look of the title in that font makes you feel. If that is appropriate to your genre, if that is appropriate to your plot, go for it. The same with the color. You want the color to be both genre appropriate and something that contrasts pleasantly with the colors in the images of your book cover. None of this blending stuff. Oh my gosh. I despise it when I cannot read a title because half of it is blended into the image. And when you have images that have variations in color and the title spans the whole thing, go ahead and use that backdrop light and shadow thing. Yeah, we all know what you're doing. So what? It makes the text pop. It's a technique that is used to improve legibility. And legibility is something that is getting passed over more and more for some sort of artistic snobbishness. Don't be an artistic snob. You are not trying to make the world's greatest art thing with your cover. Now, you can use the greatest art thing for your cover, but yeah, that's a whole different story. Now, if you're doing a paperback, then you want to make sure that you have the full wrap. That means that you have the front cover wrapping over into the back cover. In a perfect world, it would be a larger picture that just happens to have all the interesting stuff on the far right side so that it's on the front cover, but that's not always what happens. Sometimes you end up using two different images or two different concepts on the front and back cover. That's fine. Sometimes the back cover is really just better blank. That's fine. Especially if you have like a really basic cover, like, you know, it's black with the crosshairs and big red letters and stuff like that. That's a very Spartan look, and sometimes you want to carry over that look. So it's fine, but you want the back to be reflective of the cover as a whole. You want it to be not very busy. Do not make it busy. I mean, that applies to the entire cover, but do not make your back cover busy, because that's where your blurb goes. You do not want to wrestle with trying to get your words to show up against something that is like, don't do it. Do not do it. A nice, simplified version of the same concept that is on the front cover. Now, some final things to keep in mind about your covers. Covers are great. Covers are awesome. Covers are supposed to be eye-catching. A lot of people recognize books by their covers. But covers are not your book. You want to make sure that they are capturing the essence of your book, as opposed to being the focus of your book themselves. You do not want people to think the cover was the best part. No, that's a bad thing. I mean, covers are awesome, but you don't want the cover to be the best part of your book. So make sure that the cover captures the essence of what you have written. Good luck! If you have any questions, comments, queries, posers, or, you know, just like, what the heck are you even talking about? Post them below. I will address. I'll totally address that. If you've seen the previous video, then you know that Whispers of Hope, the charity anthology that benefits mental health, is out. Remember, all proceeds go to benefit a charity in Australia and a charity in the United States. Included in this charity is Precious Scars, which is a short story that I wrote, and so far we're getting a lot of good feedback on it. I also have a short story that has been accepted into a time travel anthology by Fiction Atlas called Counterclockwise. The story is A Time and a Place. It is a prequel for the Magus Chronicles. I am actually considering doing 2 additional anthologies this year on top of everything else. So if you have any commentary about what I am and am not writing and focusing on, leave it in the comments below. I'm always willing to listen to my fans. You can follow me on Facebook, Sarah Berman Author. You can follow me on Twitter, Author Goddess. You can check out my website, authorgoddess.com. You can check out my Instagram, Sarah Berman Author. Or you can just message me here. Don't forget, you can still get the Runespell series, Too Weird and Fluffy Bunny, on Amazon. You can still get all of my anthologies on Amazon, as well as my short horrors. And of course my Lena Grace line, The Hot Fae Nights, with Her Favorite Mistake and His Precious Undoing. All links are listed below. Have a good one! Hey, more covers. I'm making pasta sauce. It's cooking. It's not bubbling yet though, so it's not done. My favorite cover in the whole world is the three-way tie between Johnny Cash's Hurt, the cover of Nine Inch Nails, Disturbed's version of The Sound of Silence, originally by Simon and Garfunkel, and Tainted Love by Marilyn Manson. Because I love that video. It makes me feel so dirty. Oh, wrong covers.